Hello everyone, it's Marcel. Welcome back to my channel. For today I want to discuss a bit of a lighter topic, why it is so important not to compliment women. It should be worth noting, if it weren't already obvious, that when it comes to women, compliments are almost currency. From the perspective of the woman, they're impersonal, meaning that though they do care who the compliment is coming from, that person can be a complete and total stranger as long as they're desirable. I'll get more into that here in a minute. Furthermore, that the compliments are more a matter of frequency as opposed to quality. I thought of this topic when I was considering complimenting a colleague the other day because she did look particularly nice. I decided not to because of the risks involved with a simple friendly gesture. Well, now we've all heard the possibility of getting accused of harassment, especially if they're saying anything sexually related. Naturally, going up to a female coworker or something and saying, "Hey baby, nice can," is kind of asking for trouble in this day and age. For me, my first experience that I can remember having an issue dealing with compliments, I was lounging around in a break room years ago when I worked in a hardware store, and almost as a matter of reflex complimented one of my colleagues. Coincidentally, there was another female colleague nearby who heard the compliment, which was honestly something subtle, like, "Hey, you look nice today," kind of a deal. Well, she steps up out of the blue and says, "Well, wait, what about me? What, do I not look nice?" I was floored. It was as if simply being present warranted her for a compliment of her own, and the fact that I hadn't said something to her directly had become an insult to her. Though to this day I don't know which of them actually reported me, one of them reported me, I'm assuming it was the one that was offended, obviously, to my management, and they actually brought me into the office. Fortunately, back then, you couldn't get in as much trouble for it like you could nowadays. Needless to say, there was a nearly permanent awkwardness. It lasted for the remainder of my career. So let's break down the contradictions that exist within the concept of a compliment in reference towards women. So if a man compliments a woman, in a sense, he is establishing that she is desirable to him, in a way that she is of higher market value. He took the time out of that day to approach her and exhibit that appreciation to her for whatever it is that she did or looked or who she was at that particular time. In a sense, this drops him down a level on his social standing and bumps her up one. It's almost the equivalent of like giving her a $5 bill. A guy can do that, you can handle quite a few of them, but at a certain point, your wallet starts getting kind of light, especially if you do it a lot with the same person and they stop appreciating it as much. That guy has effectively dropped himself so low that it sounds like he's pandering to her, like he's almost compliment stalking her. They can twist it to sound creepy really easily. But the woman won't necessarily make an issue out of it unless the guy is below her in social standing, which happens naturally as a guy compliments her too much to begin with. Furthermore, when a guy of lower value, a less attractive guy, a less valuable guy, a guy that makes no money, for example, whatever it is, when he compliments her or even gives her attention, he is essentially establishing her market value through that, because the only guys she wants compliments from are ones that are better than she is. Furthermore, you can see addictive behaviors in regards to compliments, as well as ones in regards to dating behaviors like buying drinks and stuff. Every new guy has to try a little harder to either make her feel pretty or for her to even acknowledge the compliment the way he probably wants without her getting insulted by it. I had one girl I had dated back in high school tell me the only way she'd go to prom with me is if I were to ask her in an extremely extravagant way. I don't know exactly what she had in mind, maybe balloons or a scavenger hunt or something, but something along that lines. And she actually told me this. To think that a woman would be so cheeky, and that was over a decade ago. It has gotten so much worse. Put simply, if a woman won't give a guy her attention for a couple of drinks at a bar one night, odds are after a few months of doing that, he's going to have to buy her, other guys are going to have to buy her many more drinks before they'll get the same level of attention, because she's going to gradually crave more of it and expect more for the same payout. Going back to the $5 bill analogy, when she has a whole purse full of fives, she's going to need a 20 before she'll appreciate it as much. Otherwise, it's, she's got a whole purse full of them. At some point, a $5 bill might even become an insult. She's got a whole purse full of money. Why are guys still giving her fives? This devaluing, ratcheting kind of effect is further emphasized and exaggerated by things like Facebook. Women can essentially fish for compliments all day long and not really have to put any effort in for it at all. Then when someone comes up to them in real life and compliments them, it doesn't mean anything because they've got 400 compliments on their Facebook post. So let's say we're not worried as to why women want the compliments in the first place. It is completely irrelevant whether or not the man in question is blue pill, red pill, purple pill. Doesn't matter what his values are, he should not compliment her. I realize that that's kind of a bold statement, but let me explain why. If he's interested in eventually dating her, complimenting her is going to drop his value down and give her her attention fix. She is essentially going to give him less attention for having done it. So complimenting her is counterproductive. Furthermore, if she's not interested in him in the first place, complimenting her will not accomplish anything except opening him up to accusations. Then considering if a guy is red-pilled and isn't interested in dating her at all, compliments can almost become reflexive, meaning that they happen automatically, that we don't have to think about them. They sometimes just blurt out. It almost seems like a programmed trait, and the only guys that aren't giving compliments are the ones that are so busy or so successful that they don't need to. For whatever reason though, if a guy were to need to or want to give a woman a compliment, what I would suggest is finding something like a physical object that is abstract. Back when I studied pickup artistry, they would teach to catch her off guard, say something that she doesn't expect or wouldn't hear very often to set the male apart from the other men, the competition, if you will. For our purposes here, I would say almost compliment her shoes or her purse, something that is non-sexual as possible and is nothing that anybody else would compliment normally. Perhaps something that women would compliment each other about, while avoiding topics like her eyes, her hair, her dress, that are more specifically tailored towards sexual attraction of the opposite sex. Now, obviously, I'm not suggesting that men go around and start complimenting women at random, but there are social situations where it might feel necessary. At least that would put the person giving the compliment in a realm of safety. If I had commented on the woman in the colleague, the previous example, if I had said she had nice shoes, I would have still been complimenting her, but would I have been saying anything that the other person could have been offended by? It would have been much harder for her to say, well, wait, what, you don't think my shoes are nice too? She would have sounded a lot more retarded, although granted, anything is possible with women these days. You never know. It's like bringing in pizza to people at work. You better have enough for everyone, otherwise somebody's going to be pissed. Finally, to kind of summarize this topic, it's worth considering that women thrive off of compliments. We can all pretty much agree on that, right? That appreciation of the opposite sex, of their other people around them. If they stop getting compliments for long enough, they start to feel almost as if they have failed, like their value is dropping, and they'll start seeking them out. That's why it's the best way to get under a girl's skin is actually to ignore her. So let's consider, would it be possible to extract better work out of a colleague or an employee, something along that lines, by only complimenting them, if at all, on the quality of their work? I mean, women use validation all the time to control men, almost constantly. They're programming guys left and right. Could it be twisted to the female equivalent of that, where they only get acknowledged or complimented for productive, less vanity-based behaviors? Now, obviously, that would have to be a group effort because they're going to find the path of least resistance to get the most compliments possible. So if there's a whole bunch of cucks around, they're just going to get the compliments from them, the betas. But it's worth considering, since for the moment, with gender hiring quotas, women are going to be around. We might as well get used to it to a degree. How could those attention cravings be used for productive ends? Maybe tell me down below what you think. Is there any potential there? Well, that's about all I have to say on this topic. If you appreciate what I have to say, like, share, subscribe. Some of the future topics I plan on working on will include false accusations, the Facebook time warp, natural functions and how they play roles in social dynamics within society, just to give a bit of an idea of what I'll be working on. And for those of you that prefer me playing video games in the background instead of the clip art photos, I'm working on some footage of The Witcher 3 and Skyrim, and both of those are extremely addictive, almost grinding type games, especially Skyrim. Holy shit. I don't want to publish a video of me sitting there casting the same spell on an animal over and over again. I'll be diversifying my videos again soon though. Let me know. This has been Marcel.